Only a little bit. I'm ready to go, man. What a tiring day. I'm waiting for a bunch of guys to get out of the way before I can go. Now that guy, now this guy. I'm gonna be sitting here all day. I probably could have went for like 10 minutes straight. But then all of a sudden, when I'm actually ready to go, so I was sitting there for a little bit, just messing around on my phone. I was looking at hard drives, and I've just got an endless appetite for things to buy, you know. Get a little bit of money, and it starts burning a hole in my pocket immediately. But now's not the time to be spending money with moving coming up and everything. Oh man, still trying to figure out how to get views up on the channel here. And I think that having no thumbnails and just going straight into a recording and then there's just a picture of a guy sitting in his car, it's not really like you know, it doesn't bait the clicks very well. I'm gonna get out of that mud. A lot of mud. And I found this tote in a dumpster today. It's in really good shape, not dirty or nothing. So I grabbed it. That'll help us move. You can never have too many totes when you're moving, even if I end up throwing a bunch of them away. Actually, I think my mom said that she would take some totes if we found them, but I don't think I'll ever find too many. But yeah, man, people throw away all kinds of stuff. We can talk about the kind of stuff I find. I found so the first big find that I had was I found a laptop. A working laptop. And it's like a $200 laptop. So it's not a super nice laptop, but it was a decent laptop, and it was just in the garbage. And I actually dumped it into the truck, but I saw this box sitting up. So there's the garbage truck, and you have the hopper right here, and then I'm driving right here, and then the forks reach down to dump it into the hopper. And when the forks reach up, and I'm sitting right here in the middle, the forks reach up over the cab, and then into the hopper, and then there's a compactor blade that pushes it all to the back of the truck. And there's a cab protector, because I'm sitting right here, and then the cab protector, while I was lifting the box, something fell out onto the cab protector, and it was like a box. And so I climbed up there. There's a ladder going up the front of the truck so that you can climb and get anything that might have fallen off onto the cab protector, and you can stand on that thing. It's pretty hefty. And so I climbed up there, and I was looking in that box, you know, because I was like, oh, it's not empty, what's in here? And there were some cords hanging out of it. And whenever I see cords, I always want to see what they're connected to, or if they're connected to anything. Because if it's an HDMI cord, I'm taking it. If it's one of those, you know, the power cord that goes into the back of a PS4, well, those cords are used on all kinds of stuff, and so I grab those when I see them. And this time it was a laptop charger, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I look into the box a little bit deeper, and there's the whole goddamn laptop sitting right there, dude. I found the laptop. And then I took it home, and I was really excited to take that thing home, and it was like halfway through the day that I found it. So I had it in the truck for a while, and I tried to turn it on, and of course it was dead. Or it was broken, I didn't know. So I took it home, plugged it in, and it started up, and it worked, and the battery charged up, and the battery worked, and everything about it was perfect. It was like no damage, nothing, dude. I couldn't believe that it had been thrown away. But the thing about it was password protected. And so I tried to just like Derek's boot and nuke the whole thing, but I couldn't figure it out. I think it had like some sort of secondary underlying protection on it somehow, and I knew there was a way to get past it, but I didn't know how. So I just traded it to a guy for another laptop, and then that laptop ended up being a piece of junk. And I tried to message the guy that I traded with, because it was just on like the Facebook Marketplace, I tried to message that guy, and he just bailed on me, so I was pissed, and I took that laptop that I had traded him the password protected laptop for into my garage, and I smashed it with a sledgehammer because I was so mad. I felt like I got robbed, you know. It was actually, I met up with the guy to get a laptop from him, and I was kind of in a hurry because I was on my way to work. Yeah, that's why I didn't have a real chance to test it or anything. So, you know, I've made a couple of stupid trades before, but that was the first big find that I had out of a dumpster. And then the second time I found something big was I was at an apartment complex, and there was a duffel bag. And you know, if there's something in the trash, I don't normally go digging through it. You know, most of the time it's just junk, garbage, nasty food stuff. But sometimes you see something in there, and it's clean. People, you don't just like dip your garbage in the toilet before you take it out. You know, sometimes there's nice stuff in there, and it's not dirty or nothing. It's just sitting on top of some plastic bags, and it's not gross at all. And this duffel bag was just like that. The duffel bag looked like they just set it on, you know, like just set it down on some plastic bags, and it was totally clean. So I was like, man, what's in there? It's all zipped up, and I could tell something was in it because it just didn't look deflated. It didn't look, it was like pushing into the bag that it was sitting on. It looked like there was some weight to it, you know? I could tell there was something in there. And so I opened it, and lo and behold, there's 2 PlayStation 3s in this duffel bag. No way, you know? There was no cords, no games, no controllers or anything, just the consoles. But I took both of them home, and that's when it paid off that I kept all those Sony cords, because guess what? Those cords go into the PlayStation 2, and the PlayStation 3, and the PlayStation 4, and my Sony TV, and they go into like fans and just all kinds of stuff those cords are used for. So I always take those, and lucky thing I did, because now I have cords for those PlayStation 3s to plug them in and test them, and guess what? They both worked. They both worked perfectly. Just had to get HDMI cables, but guess what? I collect those too, and so I had enough of those laying around to test them, and I actually traded one of them to a buddy of mine. Sold it to him, traded it to him, and then the other one I kept. I still have it. And then one more big find that I had, kind of the last big find that I had, was a PS4. I found a PlayStation 4 Slim, and that was sitting there next to the garbage, on top of a whole bunch of other garbage. And so that was an excellent find too. There was no cords for that or anything, but I took that home and tested it, and it worked too. Son of a gun, and I still have that one. Still have that one. The only thing about the PS4 is that it won't read discs, so you can only play downloaded games on there. But that's how I download most. That's how I purchase most of my games anyway, is online. So those were some really good finds that I had in the trash. And then one that I forgot, I think it was after that PS4, and so it wasn't the last big find that I had. I had one more really good find, and that was at another apartment building. On top of the trash, there was an Xbox 360, one of the old white ones, like the original design Xbox 360 that came out. It might have been like the second one, because there was, I think, the first Xbox 360 that came out. The tray that came out, the disc tray, the little face of the disc tray had silver on it, I think. Maybe I have this backwards, I don't know, but the one that I found, it was white. It had the white face on the disc tray, and it had a 250 gigabyte hard drive attached to it, and it had a 512 memory card in it, and I had the power cord, which you kind of have to have with the Xbox because it's not just a common cord. You'd have to go buy that. And those cords go for like $10, $15. So I was like, man, even if this Xbox doesn't work, I got this cord, I'll sell this. And I love doing that. I love taking stuff that I find in the garbage, like this tote. I found this Alien Workshop skateboard. Found that in the trash like yesterday. And I just forgot to grab it until this morning. When I went inside, it was still in the truck, and I was like, oh man, I forgot that. And so I got that in the car. That Alien Workshop skateboard has a lot of grinding wear on it, and the wheels are seized up, but just with some new bearings and some new wheels, somebody could get some use out of that. So I'm going to sell that for like $5 or $10, you know, see if it'll sell for 10 and then lower it to 5, whatever, you know, because it's probably worth maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe it's worth like $15, but I just want to sell it fast. So if it doesn't sell the first couple days for 10, I'll drop it to 5. And if it doesn't sell after that, maybe I'll leave it up for like a week. I'll just give it away, you know? Because somebody will use that. Somebody will use that for sure. I'll just give it to a kid. You know, I think one of the wheels works real good, and then yeah, two of them are completely seized. One of them, the bearings are just totally shot, and then one of them still rolls pretty good. So yeah, I find a bunch of good stuff. And that Xbox 360, I almost forgot to say, that hard drive had over 50 games downloaded on it. All kinds of games, like Halo, what else? Hitman. I can't remember. It had a whole bunch. And in the disc tray, it had a copy of Portal 2. A copy of Portal 2 with like no scratches on it or anything. I don't know how it got or why it got thrown away, but that was actually in the dumpster. Somebody put it in there, and it was for sure garbage, dude. They were throwing it out. So, you know, especially at the stops where I got to get out anyway, I'll open up the lids and just, oh, there's nothing, and then I'll just flip it into the truck and be on my way. Especially at stops where I don't have to get out. If the dumpster's just sitting out in the open, you just drive up, flip it, get out of there. But a lot of the stops, they have like corral gates. You got to open up the gates, then dump the box, then put it back, close the corral gates, and then you're out of there. So you have, you know, 2 extra steps where you got to get out of the truck, both at 2 extra times, you know. Look at this guy cutting me off. Nice, dick. The guy, I'm about to get onto the highway right here, and here's this guy coming up from over here in the straight lane, and he just cuts me off from 2 lanes over. You got 2 straight lanes, and he's coming from over here and cuts me off, and all the traffic that was in the other lane. What a guy. Whatever. But yeah, I love finding stuff in the garbage, man. I find dishes. I found some really nice Pyrex. Some really nice Pyrex. It was so nice that my wife kept it and sold the Pyrex that she already had. And we got $40 for that Pyrex that I found. It's like those really old style bowls with the artwork on the sides, and they were like a solid color with artwork on the side. I don't know if you guys remember those bowls, but I think everybody's grandma has them, you know. And those were in the garbage. I found a couple of full sets of dishes. Yeah, find all kinds of stuff, man. And if it's worth money, I take it, dude. I take it and put it up for sale, and you know, I've probably made a few $100 doing that. Taking stuff out of the garbage that's worth money. Animal cages. People just throw those away, dude. When their animal dies, or they get rid of it, they get rid of the animal. Although if you get rid of the animal, you're probably giving them the cage too. So I don't really know. But people throw away dog cages all the time, man. And those are worth $15, $20, $30 if they're still in decent shape. There was one, it wasn't really a cage, it was a fence. It had 8 panels, and it didn't have a floor or anything, but you could design it in any shape you wanted. 8 panels, and one of the panels had a door, so you didn't have to completely take it apart. You could just open up the door to that panel, and it was just like a little pen to keep puppies in, or small dogs. Keep them penned in a little area so that they couldn't get out, or past where you want them to go, or whatever. Just a little fence. And I got a $20 bill for that. So yeah, that's kind of one of the upsides to my job. And for Christmas time, I got one guy gave me $50, and then at another stop I got $40. And out of a couple hundred stops, that I didn't do too well, but I did fine. That was $90. I'll take that. As a little Christmas tip from some of the customers. It's not a very high hit rate, but I'll still take it every time. It's not like Christmas time when I was delivering pizzas. People got generous around Christmas time when I was delivering pizza. You wouldn't get too many like big ones, like people would say Merry Christmas and hand you something nice, but nobody would shortchange you. It would always be like 5 or 6 or 7 and like some 10s, and then every once in a while somebody would throw you a 20 or a 50. Those were excellent. You love when that happens. And to anybody who's young, or if you want to get a side job or whatever, and you're gonna go into a job where they tip you, dude, I'm telling you, you want to go to a place that sells expensive pizza or expensive food or whatever. If you're going to be a waiter or a waitress, go to a place that has high traffic and high prices. You want to deal with a lot of traffic and at a high-end place. That's where you get the tips. You don't want to go work at Marco's in Lorain, or Domino's in downtown Cleveland. Because you're going to be doing 30 deliveries a night, and you're not even going to make $100. Forget all that. Forget that. You're just going to be beating up your car and putting yourself in danger for hardly any money. And the thing that kills you at pizza shops now, the reason that I don't even want to do it anymore, is because this is definitely true at the pizza chains, is that they cut you down to a tipped employee hourly rate while you're out on the road. So instead of giving you minimum wage the whole time that you're clocked in, when you sign out to take the delivery out, your hourly rate changes to, like, in Ohio here, it's like 4 something. Dude, forget that. They got to tip you $3, $2 or $3 just for you to break even. Then if you didn't take the delivery, because you're miling up your car, you're using your gas, and you're getting paid less. So they got to tip you nice to make up for that. It used to be that you would just be at minimum wage the whole time, regardless of your location, being in the store or in your own car. They just take money right out of your pocket, dude. So yeah, I mean, whatever. If they want lower quality employees, it's up to them. Because they're not getting me. And I'll tell you something. I don't brag on myself about very much, but I killed it as a delivery driver. I did a good job. I didn't take my time out there. I got the job done. I got it to them hot. I smiled. I killed it. I killed it. I was good at that job. That's why in less than a year, they made me manager. Spent less than a year there, and then I'm 22 years old telling people what to do. That's who I was. And I hear people talking about, like, well, if you want to pay me minimum wage, then I put in minimum effort. Well, that's a horrible attitude. Regardless of how much you're getting paid, if you want to get paid more, you have to be the best. You have to be the best where you're at. And don't compare yourself to other people. Say, like, well, I'm better than John over here. John, he spits in food. I don't spit in food. So at least I don't spit in food. Like, okay, but you're both slow. You both suck. You're not making the place better. So you're just going to keep getting paid the same. You have to work harder than you're getting paid for. if you want to get paid more, because you have to prove yourself. You don't just walk up to your boss and tell them, like, well, listen, if you want me to work harder, you got to pay me more. And like, maybe that'll work for you, but man, you got to prove yourself. Get out there and kill it. If you don't want to be stuck in the same horrible position, or the same position that you don't like, you know, if you want to move up to another position, or if you want to make more money because you think that you're worth more, you got to prove it. You got to prove it. And I think this is obvious to a lot of people, but I know that to some people it is not. And I just know that from working with some people, man. They don't take pride in their work, or they don't feel like they owe it to them, or maybe they feel entitled to getting more. But I'll tell you what, dude, if you're entitled to get more, you're getting more. You're not entitled until you earn it. Yeah. That's absolutely true. That's why at my job that I have now, I want to get paid more. And I was one of the guys that got the raises when the raises went out. There were some guys that got a $1 raise, and there was a bunch of guys that didn't get the $1 raise. I got the $1 raise. So I go out there. Well, first of all, I show up on time. I show up about 20 minutes to a half hour early every single day without fail. Every single day I'm there early. I take care of my truck. I actually check my oil. They never busted me with low oil. That when they want me to clean my windows, I get the windows clean. You know, for the most part, I'm not perfect. You know, sometimes I'm in a hurry, I'm tired, and maybe my windows have a little bit of dirt on them at the end of the day. And in the garbage truck, the windows, especially a front loader, the windows get dirty really fast. They get dirty every day. Probably like halfway through your day, you need to wipe them down, kind of, you know, because you've got these dumpsters, and a lot of times there's wet material in them, or the dumpsters themselves are wet, and it's really bad when it's raining. And you're lifting these big, nasty, disgusting dumpsters, because some of them are just gross. Some of them are gross, and that's why we wear gloves all day when we're handling anything besides the steering wheel. But yeah, you're lifting it over the front of the truck, and that stuff falls onto the windshield, man. You just get dirt and grime and dust and dirt and water and other liquids. You know, sometimes if you're doing a restaurant, you can get spaghetti sauce on your window, and it's just disgusting, dude. And the wiper blades don't do enough. You would need wiper blades made out of razor blades. They would have to be like metal and sharp to get all the stuff off the windows that gets on there. And you have to wipe off the windshield wipers themselves too, because they get kicked up on. Especially sitting down here at the bottom when all the stuff is coming down the window and the window's wet, and then it's just sitting there on the windshield wiper, piling up and getting gross. So yeah, there's some gross parts of the job, man. But you gotta really put the work in. You gotta prove yourself. You gotta work harder than what you're being paid. And that's how you move up. That's how eventually you get noticed by management. It's just good work ethic. That's what good work ethic is. We've got you know, I've seen people that they don't have any hustle in their step. They've got all the time in the world. They're just not in a hurry to get anything done. And I guess that's fine, you know, they get their stuff done eventually. Most of the time, you know, I'm going to help them where somebody else is. But again, I'm not perfect every day. I'm not perfect every day, but I put in the work. I put in the work. I would say that, you know, I'm not just a middle of the pack guy. I try to stay in the above average category. And there's definitely guys who are better than me. But I'm up there with the above average guys. And I always am, wherever I work. And it doesn't take much. You don't have to be super smart. You don't have to like break break your back killing yourself. You just have to go with focus and intention. I'm here to get my work done and show up on time and show up every day. I think I've missed one day since I started, and I started July of 2018. July of 2018. And I've missed like one day, maybe two. And I've had to request off a couple of days too. But whenever I had to request off, I did it well in advance. So you just got to be like that at your job. And when I was a manager at Pizza Hut, I was able to see that for sure. You know, and I never really developed a good method for like pulling the best out of people, except for just trying to inspire them by giving them a talk similar to like I'm giving right now about like how you got to prove yourself. You got to have some pride in your work, pride in yourself. Work harder than you're being paid if you ever want to get paid more. That kind of stuff. And then of course by you know, leading by example, because that stuff, do as I say, not as I do, does not work. Everyone leads by example, whether they want to or mean to or not. Even if you're a subordinate and like you don't have anyone working underneath of you, you're leading your coworkers. You're not in charge of them, but you influence them. You're leading. Everyone is a leader. And if your coworkers see you slacking, well, that kind of makes it okay for them to slack, especially if they see you getting away with it. Now, I've never had that mentality. You know, sometimes I think that though when I see guys just lollygagging, no hustle in their step, like I was saying. When you see that, it's like, oh, well, maybe I should just do that, you know. But I'm just kind of talking smack and expressing frustration when I see that kind of thing. And I don't know if I want to. I know I don't want to be in the garbage business forever, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm gonna kill it while I'm at work. I'm not gonna try to take advantage. I want to be noticed for you know, being a good employee. When you put in your 2 weeks notice and you're talking to your boss, you know you did a good job if he offers you a raise to stay. That's what I had at my last job when I was delivering lumber. I was on commission when I was delivering lumber. I would write down the charge for what my company was going to charge the wood selling company. So there was a company that had a lumber yard, and then my company, we parked our trucks there every night. We didn't do deliveries for anybody else, but it was a separate company. And so my trucking company would charge the lumber yard for the mileage and the time, and I would take a 24% cut. And after a year, I qualified for a 1% raise. So instead of taking a 24% commission, I got to start taking a 25% commission. And I did that for another year or so, and it was almost 2 years. It was almost 2 years that I worked at that place. Or no, just over 2 years. Maybe I was about to get another % raise. I don't know. Because at 2 years, I don't think I did get another raise. I don't think I ever did. But the prices that we were charging the lumberyard went up, and so that was like a raise for me. Even though my percentage didn't go up, the prices went up. So my percentage of the price was a larger number because the price was a larger number. So that was similar to a raise. That was a raise for everybody in the company when the prices went up. And I really like working commission, but like I was saying, when I quit that job, they offered me 28% to stay, and they were gonna pay me 28% of the load. But I did the math on that. I did my average weekly load, and then I, multiplied by 0.28, and I knew I was still going to come out ahead being paid hourly. And even though I like the commission structure more, I think that being paid commission is the most honest relationship an employee can have with their employer. Because if you work fast and hard, you get paid the same amount as the guy who goes slow and easy. He'll make the same money as you, but it'll take him longer to do it. So if I have 10 loads and I get it done in 10 hours, then good for me, And if it takes him 12 or 13 hours to get those 10 loads done, guess what, dude? He's getting paid the same as me. So they're kind of paid to go faster. Maybe you can get the extra load at the end of the day if you want it, And that's always what I tried to do. I was like, I'm go. Get the extra load, make my money faster. Working fast doesn't cost me money. It actually makes me more money. My hourly rate goes up because I'm getting the same money in less time. And so I really loved being paid in commission, but it still worked out after I did all the math that my hourly rate would still be higher than my commissionable rate. So I had to get out of there. Also, at the job I'm at now, health insurance, man. Health insurance. And I really hate that health insurance is tied to through our employer. Like that happened I think it was in World War II, when they weren't allowed to give people raises by law. Private companies were forced by government to not raise the wages of any workers. But what they did was made it legal for employers to provide health care coverage to their employees without charging tax on that money. So you would pay your health insurance pre-tax, without tax. It'd be like no taxes on that money. So everybody was like, yeah, okay, let's do that. That's kind of like a raise, And then that just kind of took. Even after they lifted the ban on wage increases. That just became the norm. And so now everybody has their health insurance through their employer. And I hate that. Because if I want to leave my job, if I want to quit my job, I lose my insurance, man. That sucks. Why is the insurance tied to my job? It's such a pain. So at the other job, the insurance plan that they offered would have been $700. Not per month, not $700 a month, $700 every paycheck, every 2 weeks. $700 every 2 weeks. And that would have just killed me, because that was